He's a vintage electronic game whiz. He's gonna play some vintage games. He knows all the secrets and he knows the decades well. Some games might be good and others are just bad. Nintendo, Sega, Atari, at-home computers. He's gonna review them all.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, no.
Super Mario Bros. 2, released October 9th, 1988. We all probably know by now that Super Mario Bros. 2 was a real oddball in the classic Mario trilogy. And most of you already probably know this, but for those who don't know, it's not even the real Mario 2. It's a reskin of Doki Doki Panic for the Famicom Disk System over in Japan. The real Mario 2 was a reskin or a continuation of the first Mario game with ridiculous difficulty. You might know it better as the Lost Levels in Super Mario Bros. All-Stars for the Super Nintendo. The game was so hard, in fact, that Nintendo of America's playtester Howard Phillips rejected the game completely because he thought it was too hard for Western audiences. But my main question is, why don't people favor this game as much as the other two games in the trilogy? Like, I've seen people review this game on the World Wide Web over the past few years, and I can't help but notice that it almost always gets a low review. And yeah, I know that other people have talked about this in other videos, but I'd like to throw my own opinion in here. So, is it really that weird? Is it that bad? Personally, I don't think so. But let's take a closer look. Let's pop this sucker in. And voila, we got signal. Okay. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's make this fair. First, let's check out what Mario 2 doesn't have compared to the other two games on the system. This way we'll create a clear picture of what we're dealing with.
Alrighty then, World 1-1. Drop down and... yeah. Looks like it only took about 3 seconds to find our first difference. You can't jump on enemies to kill him? What kind of Mario game is this where you can't jump on enemies to kill him? Instead, you gotta pluck vegetables out of the ground and throw them at enemies. Or better yet, pick the enemies up and throw them into each other. Oh, that's nuts. Imagine you're out for a pleasant walk and out of nowhere somebody twice your size picks you up and absolutely launches you straight into another guy. That'll be one hell of a collision. Hey, speaking of jumping, you also have a new ability that gives you the power to super jump.
Just hold down on the D-pad, and when your character starts blinking and going all apeshit, jump.
This will definitely help you in these vertical segments. Okay. What's up with this? Where are the question mark blocks? The bricks? Stones? Anything? There are no blocks up in the sky. So no fire flower? That sucks. Instead, you gotta go treasure hunting, you dig up these magic potions, smash them on the ground, and suddenly this magical door pops out of nowhere. What the hell is this?
The Anywhere door from Doraemon?
Next thing you know, you're in an alternate universe, and you finally see a mushroom. Damn! And mind you, this is just to fill an extra life container. So apparently Mario games have a life bar now? Sure. Why not? Okay, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but you get the picture. Though there are places where this genuinely pisses me off, like in the desert level where you gotta grab the mushroom before it gets swallowed by the quicksand, never to be seen again. And you can't go back in, because it kicks you out. But you can respawn the potion by re-entering the pot, so... Either way, if you know where the mushroom's gonna land, you can usually grab it in time. Well, in general, it's not a bad way of buffing up your character before facing a boss. A lot of games did this. For example, The Legend of Zelda had you searching all over Hyrule for extra heart containers so you could survive more hits from enemies. You can also grab these bonus coins for the 1-up slot machine in here, so I guess that's a win. A 1-up slot machine.
Yeah, there's gambling in a licensed Nintendo game. And honestly, it was pretty common back then. You know, Zelda had it, Mario 3 had it. Hell, there's even a game called Vegas Dream so all the kiddies could play. So if you ever find me in Las Vegas gambling all my life savings away, you can thank Nintendo for that.
Cherries, cherries, and more cherries. If you get exactly 8 of them, a Starman will appear. If you don't grab it in time, or if it appears behind a wall, it basically goes too bad and drifts away into the pixelated nothingness we call off-screen. You can also find clocks that stop time if you pluck 5 continuous big turnips in a row. Which is actually pretty cool! Stopping time in a Mario game is actually pretty interesting. Oh, and you gotta love these POW blocks. Oh yeah, boom! Annihilated absolutely everyone on the fucking screen. Oh, I can't believe there isn't a gigantic crater in the ground after that. Something that confuses me about this game is that there are no Goombas, no Koopas, no Buzzy Beetles, no Spinies, nothing. Not even Lakitu. Okay, that's actually a good thing, thank God. My point is, there isn't a single recognizable Mario enemy in this game. Okay, at least the princess didn't get kidnapped, but instead we got all these weirdos. Which actually makes sense since we're in another kingdom, but why do most of them have masks? Is Subcon infested with the plague? Come on guys, you can't be that ugly. Worst part is that most of them never show up in another mainline Mario game ever again. Why was this just a one-time thing? Well, at least a few of them got to see the light of day again, like the Bob-ombs, Pokies, and Ninjas. But what about the rest? What was Nintendo thinking? Yeah, let's pretend these guys never existed. What? Why? We could have had a badass Super Mario World sequel on the Super Nintendo. And no, I'm not talking about Yoshi's Island or Super Mario Land 2. I'm talking about a proper Super Mario Bros. 5.
Imagine regular Mario with Mario 2's mechanics. That would have been so fucking rad. My head would have exploded. It would have been like, Super Mario Bros. 5, Return to Subcon. With Roman letters and shit? To any ROM hackers out there, now's your chance.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We have a new main villain. Finally, some fresh air. Why the hell does King Koopa always get the credit? Jeez. We got Wart. Looks like this douchebag just enslaved all of Subcon. And if it wasn't obvious already, Subcon is a dream world. It's literally in the name. Subconscious. Come on, you don't need to be a total nerd to figure that out. And, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's some real foreshadowing right there. But we'll come back to that later. Anyways, who the hell does this Wart guy think he is? Freddy Krueger? Okay, we gotta go save these wusses. Like Mario doesn't have enough problems with the princess already. You know, sometimes, if I'm really feeling it, I actually read the manuals. Like, really read them. I'm not just flipping through the pages looking at all the cool pictures like a little toddler. No, I sit my ass down, I put my glasses on.
Yeah, I'm a dork. So what?
And I actually take my time. Most of you probably already know this, but I noticed that Birdo and Ostro have their names swapped in the manual. And yeah, it's probably a mistranslation or a misprint. And...
Whoa. Wait. What? Birdo's trans? I'm not making this up. It's in the manual. It's right here. Look. How did I forget about this? I guess you do learn something every day. And I guess it really was a mistranslation. Okay, I'll shut the fuck up. Okay, let's take this all in for a second. We can already see major differences between these games, and most people would agree that this isn't a traditional Mario game. And I completely agree. However, this observation alone does not justify labeling the game as bad. Even though Super Mario Bros. 2 stripped major game mechanics that made Mario games, well, Mario games, it added other mechanics that made the game feel fresh and new. Like, just imagine a kid in the 80s going, "Ugh, I'm bored of Mario!" And then suddenly they play Mario 2. And it's a whole new experience. vertically scrolling levels, keys, carpets, subspaces. You have to build little towers made out of mushroom blocks to reach higher platforms. And it has a lot of boss variety. This game has a whole lot of stuff compared to the first Mario game.
Even though the game only has 6 worlds, you gotta keep in mind that levels get huge as the game progresses. It's like if I multiplied World 8-1 by 4 in the first Super Mario Bros. You'll go underground, come back outside, climb a mountain, fly a carpet, and then finally reach the boss. It makes each level feel like you're actually exploring a larger world instead of just running from left to right. Kind of, because these levels still have a linear aspect to them, from point A to point B. But I just like to imagine it's a larger world because of all the different segments in each level. It kinda reminds me of Mega Man. Coming back to that exploration kind of feel, there are some levels where you can take shortcuts like in World 1-1 or World 6-3. And on top of that, there's no timer. You can take as long as you want. You'll especially appreciate that when you're trying to figure out how to warp to other worlds by using the potions and entering certain spots in subspace. Little secrets like that give the game some really nice replay value. There's also the puzzle aspect to this game. Sometimes you're tasked with opening a locked door, so you have to go looking for the key. The key might be up high, it might be hidden in a pot, but it's definitely in the same area as that locked door. Or maybe not. There are a few levels where you have to search for the key in different rooms, and once you finally get that key, oh boy, you better run to that locked door. This thing called Phanto starts chasing you like you just evaded 20 years worth of taxes. Well, you did steal his key, so... Ooh, damn! Does this asshole ever give up? Holy shit! Oh, you can't get me, fucker! And if he gets you in a tight spot, you're cooked. Speaking of guessing where the key is, when I first started playing this game, there was one level that made my blood boil. World 6-1. If you ever get to this room with like 20,000 pots and one locked door, the key's in this one, right here. You're welcome. And there's some areas where sand is basically the main protagonist. Why is there so much sand? Like, I get it, we're in a desert, but we're underground. Last time I checked, there wasn't any fresh beach sand in a deep-ass cave. I can't be the only one who thinks these parts are a pain in the ass. At this point, we're not playing Mario anymore. We're playing Dick to China. Someone get me a shovel and a fucking construction permit. Worst of all, there are enemies everywhere, constantly falling on your head and screwing you over, especially those little bastards that keep spitting those black beads at you. If you want to make it to that exit door, you got to be careful.
Okay, let's address the Birdo in the room for a second, because we have yet to cover one of the most important aspects about this game. The playable characters! We've got Mario, we've got Luigi, we've got Toad, and Princess Toadstool. And yes, that's the name I'm gonna give her because that's the name she was given in the manuals. We can leave Peach for the Nintendo 64 era. Anyways, let's check their abilities.
Okay, first up we've got the one and only Mario! Mario basically keeps his original moveset from Mario 1, except now he's got the super jump and the plucking mechanic, just like every other character. He plucks at a pretty average speed, you know, just your all-around balanced character. Then we've got Luigi. In a nutshell, he's practically the same as Mario, but with the floatiest flutter jump I've ever experienced. That'll probably help him jump out of his brother's shadow. I'm just kidding. I love Luigi. His jump is pretty goddamn high. He lets you skip certain parts of levels, like in World 1-2 you can completely skip the underground section with a little help from this very kind ninja. Then we've got Toad. Toad is pretty radical, if I do say so myself. His jumps are a little short, but damn is he fast! If he's got an item over his head, he'd probably beat Sonic in a race, no questions asked. And his plucking speed is criminally insane. Like, look at this and tell me this little dude hasn't been hitting the gym. God damn! He will totally help you grab all those bonus coins in the subspaces. Finally, we've got Princess Toadstool. Her biggest advantage is that she can float. That's it. Her jump height is about the same as Mario's, but good lord is she slow at pulling stuff out of the ground. Still, she's incredibly useful for tricky platforming sections, so I'd say it balances things out pretty nicely. And this game has a major difficulty ramp, so you better be careful, especially around those Phantos. I hate those assholes. There are levels that'll need some patience and some tricky platforming, but you'll probably enjoy the challenge, unless your attention span is completely fried. Alrighty, let's talk story. You know, most NES games don't even have story, especially the early ones. They just boot up to the title screen and you start playing. Back then, the story was usually hidden away in the manuals alongside the controls, but Mario 2 does something a little differently. If you don't press start right away at the title screen, it gives you a little heads up. Neat! But Metroid already did this a year earlier, so it's not that big of a deal. But hey, at least you can check out the story without going through your trash trying to look for the manual you absolutely discarded with no hesitation. Probably one of the biggest plot twists, if you ever played the game blindly, is the fact that the whole game that you've just experienced, that you've just struggled through, was all just a fucking dream. If it wasn't obvious from the Kingdom name.
Yeah, the whole thing was just a setup. Which leaves me with one question. How the hell did Mario save the people of Subcon? Telepathically? Did he just use his brainwaves to save an entire kingdom? Damn! I didn't know Mario was built like that. Oh, forget it. It's a video game fantasy. It doesn't have to make sense. But the big question remains. Does Super Mario Bros. 2 really deserve its bad reputation? Personally, I don't think so. And yeah, it's weird. It's very weird, especially compared to the other two games on the system, but that doesn't make the game bad. If you look at the game head on, you'll start to realize that instead of sticking out like a sore thumb, it adds a new and fresh experience to the already established Mario formula. It's not trying to be Mario 1, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. Now, do I understand why some people don't enjoy it? Absolutely. If you were expecting a proper sequel to Super Mario Bros. 1, I can totally see why this game didn't grab your attention. It really strays away from the traditional Mario gameplay. But honestly, I think it's a little unfair to judge Mario 2 solely by comparing it to the other two games, instead of giving it a fair chance. Judge the game for what it actually is, not for what it isn't. So if you haven't played Super Mario Bros. 2, give it a try. It might change your view on the game. And hopefully this review helped as well. And if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna continue wasting my time playing vintage video games.